All right, good morning or good afternoon. This is part two. Notice the title has changed just a little. Multiplying a mixed number by a whole number. So I just want to key in on mixed number. That's what we're doing now. In part one, we're multiplying a fraction by a whole number. Now we're multiplying a mixed number by a whole number. As you know, let me remind you, just in case you forgot, a mixed number includes a whole number and a fraction. So our first problem today is 4 times 2 and 1/3. I've shaded 2 and 1/3 pink and I've shaded 4 green. Because what we're doing, we're breaking up this 2 and 1/3 into 2, just 2, the whole number, and a third. And we're going to take each piece and multiply it by 4. So let's look at step 1. Step 1, I've taken 4, our whole number, and I've multiplied it by 2, which is a part of our mixed number, 2 and 1/3. But like I said, we're breaking them apart. So 4 times 2 equals 8. Okay, that's step 1. Step 2, I'm taking 4 again. This time I'm multiplying it by 1/3. 4 times 1/3. And we learned in part 1 of our video how to multiply a whole number by a fraction. So A times B over C. So 4 times 1 is 4 over 3. Notice it's improper. So I'm going to change it to a mixed number. My mixed number is 1 and 1/3. How did I get 1 and 1/3? Got you a visual over here. Okay, I've actually wrote down 4/3, like our improper fraction here. And I always circle however many thirds it takes to make a whole. It takes 3/3. So I have one circle that represents my whole number, and I have 1/3 out of the circle that represents what is left, what fractional part is left. All right, that was step 2. Step 3, I'm going to take my 8. I'm also going to take my 1 and 1/3, and I'm going to add them together. And so my final step here is to add 8 plus 1 and 1/3. Okay, I'm going to add my whole numbers, which is 8 and 1, and 8 plus 1 is 9. And I'm just going to bring over my fraction. So my final answer here is 9 and 1/3. Okay, let's look at another example, number 2. Now we're multiplying 3 times 3.5. I've shaded them pink because I'm breaking them up a little. I'm breaking it into 2 parts, a whole number and a fraction, because that's what makes a mixed number. I am going to take each part and multiply it by 3, my whole number. Okay, so step 1, 3 times 3, which equals 9. Step 2, I'm going to take 3 and multiply it by the fraction, 3 and 1/3. A times B over C. 3 times 1 equals 3, and my denominator is 3. Well, look at there. I have a numerator and a denominator that are the same exact number. Well, what is the value here? What does that mean, Ms. Downing? We know that 3/3 is equivalent to 1 whole, okay? So, very good if you guys were able to answer that on your own. Now, step 3 is to take my 9 and my 1 and add it together. 9 plus 1 equals 10. So sometimes when you're multiplying a mixed number by a whole number, sometimes your final answer will be a mixed number. Sometimes it will be a whole number, okay? It's good to look at different examples. Okay, I hope you're taking notes. I didn't mention to you that in the beginning, but make sure you're taking notes, following along. Remember, you can pause, rewind, and fast forward. How great is that? Number 3, 6 times 2 and 1/2. Again, I've highlighted it pink because I'm breaking it up into 2 parts, a whole number and a fraction. I'm going to multiply them by 6. 6 times 2 equals 12. 6 times 1/2 equals 6/2. A times B over C. 6 times 1 equals 6 over 2. Or, here I have an improper fraction, but just our luck, 2 can be divided evenly into 6. So, once again, I don't have a mixed number here. Instead, I have a whole number because 2 times 3 equals 6. Now our last step, well, almost last step, is to take 12 and add it with 3, and 12 plus 3 equals 15. Okay, so that's your notes for how to multiply a mixed number by a whole number. Okay, practice, practice, practice. I'll be checking in with you guys this week. All right, good luck.